Surprise! Was that a good intro? Surprise, YouTube! It's like, nah, I'm trolling right now. YouTube, what's good with it though? Peace, peace, my fellow, amazing, educational, inspiring, devoted subscribers. How y'all doing today? How y'all feeling today? How y'all looking today? Me? You know me. I'm staying educated. I'm always striving, you know. I'm aiming to get better, you know. And when you aiming to get better, great. You know, it's an everyday process. It ain't a rush. You're only rushing because you're looking at the dude next to your plate. That's why you rushing. That is why you're rushing. You don't need to rush. You don't need to rush. It's no rush. As long as you show up every day, you don't need to rush. But you rushing because you watching they plates. See me, I come on here energetic and calm and peaceful and stress-free and worry-free because I'm not watching they plates. I'm on my plate. I'm on my plate. The race isn't about who's gonna win. It's about who's gonna last. Cause look, this what we doing. We waking up every day saying, oh, I gotta hurry up and do this. I gotta hurry up and do it for the time run out. Y'all thinking this scarcity. Y'all running around with a scarce mindset. But that's why you rushing, cause you think it's no time left. But time is actually on your side. Time is on your side. But you think time is playing against you. But you watching they plates. Surprise! Surprise! You watching they plates, brother. That's why. That's why you rushing, because you watching they plates. And you think. See, your thinking got you messed up. You thinking the wrong thing. You know? Surprise! You know? Your ass getting surprised. You getting shook. You getting time shook because you think it's no time. Right? But the time is actually on your side. But you got to get educated with this type of time. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, and three things for damn sure, time ain't gonna wait on nobody, no man or woman. So we gotta learn, we gotta get educated, you know. We gotta understand what's going on. But we're gonna get into this like we always do. We know, we should know by now, every time I get on live, what's finna happen. We should know that by now. You feel me? We should already intuitively know when I get on live, what's finna go down. We should know that. Like, we shouldn't expect no other thing when I go on live. Now, when I post my vlogs here soon, because I'm back on it, we should know when I post my vlogs, it's going to be some fun shit. But, hold up. You already know what time it is. When the light go off, be like, oh, he about to turn the reading light on. But you can't have fun and be ignorant to knowledge. Like, that's not like logical to me. You gotta have some type of understanding and knowledge on what's going on, right? But we ain't finna get into too deep about anything except this book that we about to open up. Cause yesterday, I need to find a placement to where I can put this light at. Cause yesterday, I was reading my book, right? And of course, I was supposed to get on live, but that's why we wake up every day and we become better. But We're not reading Atomic Soul right now. We're gonna read that. I might come back on her later tonight, but I might not at the same time because I gotta get up tomorrow. But we're gonna speak about this book because everybody out there, they tell you about the money, right? They tell you this and this and this about the money, but they don't tell you the mindset and the habits that you need. Because if somebody tell you how to get 10 racks, right? You got to know how to invest that 10 racks because you walking in knowing that you about to get this 10 racks and you got the mindset that you have, you're going to lose it quick. You feel me? But we tend to not want to learn nothing just because we don't got the money. But if you think about it, if we learn before we even have the money, or imagining that we already have the money, we learn, and then once we get the money physically, we can invest that money and then reap what we've invested in. You feel me? But we think we need to have money first and then learn. I feel that we need the knowledge first and then learn. That's why we're not getting the money that we desire because we don't know how to get the money. All we know is working or trapping. You feel me? One of the two. That's all we know. But I'm here to tell y'all that it's 2023. You feel me? You better crack open a book just like you crack open beers. Right? You got to read and you got to have habits that will bring you money consistently for a lifetime. You gotta know what to invest in. You gotta know what to not invest in. You gotta know what to do with your money. You gotta know what not to do with your money. Because all we know how to do is spend money. And the people around you encouraging you to spend money is the wrong people that you should not be around. I'm gonna tell you that plain and simple. You know, just because people don't show that they got it don't mean they don't got it. But the ones that show that they got it, they subconsciously want people to know that they got it. They don't know that they doing that, but that's what they want people to know, that they got it. They can buy the clothes, they can buy the watches, the shoes, the cars, the female, all of this. But it's the world we live in, and it's intuitive. It's intuitive for us to think, "Oh, I got this now. Let me go spend it. Oh, I got this much. Let me go spend it. Oh, my check about to come in. Let me go buy these shoes tomorrow." That's how we think when we get money. It's not intuitive for us to think, when I get this check, half of this is about to go into my investments and half of this is about to go towards me. We don't think that. We think, oh, when I get this check, I'm going to put this in the bank account and I'm going to save this for me. The bank account ain't doing nothing for you. So you might as well just spend it, just like how you about to go spend the other half on yourself. You feel me? But we have to find investment vehicles to place our money so while we sleep, our money is working for us. You feel me? And people talk about ways to get money, but like I said, going back to it, they don't tell you what habits you need and what traits that you need and what characteristics that you need to keep the money. You feel me? You need that. And if you think you don't need the habits to keep the money and invest the money, then the people that's telling you how to get the money, you feel me, you're going to lose that money quick. You feel me? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, you have to have the mindset to, when you get the money, when you get your check, you feel me, do what you got to do to multiply that check. Because when we get our check, we spend the check, but we don't multiply the check. We got to multiply the check. You feel me? And that comes with, like I said, the habits, the characteristics, the people you hang around, it all adds up. Even though that you're unconscious of it, it all adds up. This is why I read. You feel me? So now, things happen once you read. You know how to use your money better once you read. You get more money once you read. But, there's people out there that say reading doesn't help, this and this and this and this. They're only saying that because they haven't read a book. So I advise you not to listen to them. Because all they know how to do is spend money. That's all they know how to do. You don't want to listen to somebody that knows just how to spend money. That's just like following somebody that just know how to go right. Well, I might want to go left. I might want to go straight. I'm not about to follow nobody just because they the only way they know is right. Like I said, what if I want to go straight, left, backwards? What if I want to diversify my ways of going, but all you know how to do is spin? Like, come on now. So we're gonna get into this book. I read this chapter yesterday, and it was one of those. So now I'm about to share with y'all, and that's why the title is called Surprise. Right? It's called Surprise. I'm telling y'all, this is a good chapter, and I'm about to break this motherfucker down like I'm about to break it down to the ground. You feel me? Like, for real. This is a good ass chapter. So, just listen to what it say. We got 2 ears for a reason. We be trying to talk more than what we listen. That be our problem, bro. We be thinking we know everything. Oh, I already know that. Man, why are you stressing about money if you know it? Why? I don't. Why are you stressing? If you already know it. Oh, I know that already. What do you mean you know it? It don't look like you know it. You feel me? Like, so just listen. It say Stanford professor Scott once said something everyone who follows the economy or investment markets should hang on their wall. Right? This is what he said. This is what Professor Scott said. He said that everyone needs to hang this on their wall. It say things that have never happened before happen all the time. That's what he said. Professor Scott once said something everyone who follows the economy or investment markets should hang on their walls. This is what he said. He said, things that have never happened before happen all the time. Y'all might be like, what does he mean? Like, things that have never happened before happen all the time. If it has never happened, how does it happen before all the time? That's what y'all probably thinking, right? Let's continue to read. It say, history is mostly the study of surprising events. Remember, the chapter that we're reading is called Surprise. Surprise, you know, when you open your door and you somebody knocking, you open your door, you like, who is that? Surprise. It says history is mostly, right? It's mostly the study of surprising events. Y'all might be like, what do you mean history is the study of surprising events? Like, how is history the study of surprising events, right? These are questions that we ask, right? These are intuitive questions that we ask. It say, but it is often used by investors and economists as an unaccessible guide to the future, right? So they're saying that investors and economists use history as a guide to the future, right? That's what they do. It say, do you see the irony? Do you see the problem, right? Do y'all see the problem? They said, listen, it said, but it is often used by investors and economists. What is often used by investors and economists? History, right? And it says, do you see the irony? Do you see the problem? Do y'all see the problem in doing that, right? Right? Because remember, history is mostly the study of surprising events. Well, if history is the study of surprising events and investors and economists use that history as a guide, how would they be able to use that as a guide if it's surprising events? That would be my question. Hmm. 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 Right? That would be my question. Essay. It is smart to have a deep appreciation for economic and investing history. History helps us calibrate our expectations. History helps us calibrate our expectations. Hold up. Hold up real quick. I am back. So that's what we talking about, right? Where we at? Oh, we're here. Right, so that's what we talking about. It says, do y'all see the problem? Do y'all see the irony in that, right? It say it is smart to have a deep appreciation for economic and invest in history. It say history helps us calibrate our expectations, right? Study where people tend to go wrong and offers a rough guide of what tends to work. But it is not in any way a map of the future. That's what history does, right? Right? Listen to that. Like this is like jump. My soul is jumping right now. Listen. Listen. Who said that? Hold up. I don't trust a nigga on the side for my cousin. Who sang that? Oh, Skilla Baby. He said, listen. Listen. Hold up. All right, listen. It's a history helps us calibrate our expectations. Study where people tend to go wrong and offers a rough guide of what tends to work. But it is not. That's the main word right there. Not in any way a map of the future. Because it can't be a map of the future if history is mostly the study of surprising events. Oh my God. Listen, it can't be a roadmap because history is the study, meaning it studies surprising events. That's why it's history, right? So just think moving forward, when we have an event that is surprising to us, say, God forbid, say another fucking civil war happened, right? And it just unexpectedly happens. That's a surprising event. So that's going to be part of our history because now our history is studying that surprising event. Does it make sense? I hope I'm making this sense. Right? It's but it is not in any way a map of the future. It's a trap many investors fall into is what I call historians as prophets fallacies. It's an over reliance on the past data as a signal to future conditions in a field where innovation and change are lifeblood of progress. Right? It's a good book, y'all. Y'all know I read 2 books a month. 2 books a month. And I go to sleep to an audiobook. Literally. You can ask my dog. They see it. Too bad they can't talk. You can't blame investors for doing this. If you view investing as a hard science, history should be a perfect guide to the future. Geologists can look at 1 billion years of historical data and form models of how the earth behaves. So can meteorologists and doctors, kidney operators, the same way in 2020 as they did in 1020. But investing is not a hard science. We think investing is hard. When we speak of the stock market, oh, that's hard. I ain't gonna do that. You're not doing it because you don't know about it. You're not educating yourself about it. We gotta understand, we have to educate ourselves. We don't do shit because we don't know shit. That's the only reason why we don't do nothing. And then we walk around saying, oh, I know this already. Oh, you can't tell me this, I know it. Bruh, literally, literally. All you gotta do is pick up a book. That's all I did. That's all I did. And I read all these books. Probably I actually lied. It's probably like 3 books out of these stacks right here that I have not read. And I'm 20. Why am I thinking? I'm 21. And I started reading. I got introduced to a book called Think and Grow Rich at, how old was I? 19. At the end of 2021. And ever since, I read more than my age. Yeah. I read more than my age. That's crazy as hell to me. Right? People only read probably 5 books out of their lifetime. But I'm not done. That's the crazy thing. I'm not done. But listen, we don't earn more because we don't learn more. That's the only reason why we don't earn, because we don't learn. And when you cap your learning, when you put a cap on your learning, you got a water bottle, you put the cap on it, the water can't go no more than that cap. So if you put a cap on yourself and you try to learn different ways, but you got the cap on, you're not gonna be able to learn nothing because you got the cap on. You got to take the cap off, unscrew it, and then pick up a book and start reading. Watch your mind expand. Watch your thinking expand. Right? You have to do that. To earn more, you gotta learn more. Simple as that. Because I'm earning way more, and I promise you, if I have not picked up these books, I would not be earning more. I promise you. Right hand. Right hand. Where my Bible at? Tell you now. Now, for real though, let's keep going. You can't blame investors for doing this. If you view investing as a hard science, history means his story. History should be a perfect guide to the future. Geology, all right, I already looked at that. But investing is not a hard science. It's a massive group of people making imperfect decisions with limited information. Right? This book is getting good. We're not done because, man, we won't be on here long though because my food just came in. Yeah. About things that will have a massive impact on their well-being, which can make even smart people nervous, greedy, and paranoid. Richard, the great physician, once said, imagine how much harder physics would be if electrons had feelings. Right? Well, investors have feelings, quite a few of them. That's why it's hard to predict what they'll do next based solely on what they did in the past. That just goes for as trading too. People trade with emotion. When I say trade, I'm talking about stock trading, options trading, day trading. People trade with emotion, right? So that's why it's hard to predict what will happen next. You feel me? You follow on the trend, you're on the bullish trend, and you think, oh, it's going to continue to be bullish. But next thing you know, sellers step in, they trade with their emotions, and they bring the market down. But it says, the cornerstone of economics is that things change over time. That's the cornerstone. That is the cornerstone. The cornerstone of economics is that things change over time. So if you hear people, older people talking about 401ks, working for 20 years to get the benefits out your job, that don't work no more. It worked for them. It don't work no more in 2023. Times have changed. And it says the cornerstone of economics is that things change over time, right? So what your mom and dad and grandpa had told us, it don't work no more. It's not beneficial to us because the world is changing and things is getting more expensive, right? Because things change over time. It say because the invisible hand hates anything staying too good or too bad indefinitely. Investor Bill once described how Mr. Market works. He's got a capitalism at work t-shirt on and a sledgehammer in his hand. It's a few things stay the same for very long, right? Few things. It's a which means we can't treat historians as prophets. It's a the most important driver of anything tied to money is the stories people tell themselves and the preferences they have for goods and services. I'm going to reread that again so we can understand what it's saying. It say the most important driver of anything tied to money is the stories people tell themselves and the preferences they have for goods and services. So that's the two stories, right? Those things don't tend to those things don't tend to sit still. They change with culture and generation, right? So, just like how I was just talking about the 401k, it says it right here. Those things don't tend to sit still. They change with culture and generation. There's a different culture how it was back in the day, and there's a different generation how it was back in the day. You hear the old folks say, "Oh, this generation different," because the generation is always changing. It don't stay the same. So they thought it was never gonna change, but it says they change with culture and generation, right? They're always changing and always will. So my generation is not gonna be the same as the generation after me, right? It's not gonna be the same because it's always changing. It's the mental trick we play on ourselves here is an over admiration of people who have been there, done that when it comes to money. Y'all ain't just hear what it just said. Oh my God. And I read this, but it wasn't tied to what I just said with the older folks. You feel me? About the 401ks and the benefits, 20-year benefits staying at the job. That's their story. It says they're always changing and always will, right? It says they change with culture and generation. Shit changes. The cornerstone of economics is that things change. Changes in this pace at least 5 times, right? But it says the mental trick we play on ourselves here is an over admiration of people who have been there, done that when it comes to money, right? That's the mental trick we play on ourselves. And I'm going to underline that because that didn't catch my eye. See, one thing that I've learned is that when I listen to music, right? I listen to music and I rap it. I articulate the hell out these words when I rap. I know bar for bar, word for word. I always tell myself, if I can do that, I can reread a book. You feel me? I'm saying that to say to memorize a book. Because if I can memorize some rap words that will do very little benefit to me, I should be able to memorize a book, period, point blank. The book is more beneficial to me than the rap because the rap is just telling me to shoot shit, kill shit, pop pills, go to the club, all this shit that they telling me. It's not beneficial. It's giving me a little motivation, not to kill or nothing, but it's giving me motivation to get up and go get the money. You feel me? It give you the like make you want to drill. You feel me? But it don't do what these books do. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It don't do what them books do. You feel me? But it's saying the mental trick we play on ourselves here is an over admiration of people who have been there, done that when it comes to money. Experiencing specific events does not necessarily qualify you to know what will happen next. Listen to what it said. Listen to what it just said. I hope you listen, because that's the thing. When you on my live, listen and then apply. Listen and then apply. If I'm not giving you more suggestions on how to apply, let me know in the chat on what I can do to break it down to where you can apply it every day. Because each book that I've read, I apply in my everyday life. Period, point blank. Promise you. That's why every time you see me, it's a different version of me, because I'm growing constantly. It's constantly every day. Even when I'm asleep, I'm growing. Even when I'm yawning, I'm growing. Even when I'm blinking, I'm growing. Just 2 seconds ago, I was not the same person because I'm growing. Come on now. Talk to me. This is what it say. It say experiencing, right? Y'all know what experiencing means. Experiencing specific events does not necessarily qualify you to know what will happen next. Just because you experience something don't qualify you to know what will happen next. Just because you experience that, it won't qualify you. You're not qualified. You know, when you go to a car loan, a car dealership, well, you're not qualified. You're not qualified to know what will happen next. It say, in fact, rarely does, because experience leads to overconfidence more than forecasting ability. What does that mean? Experience leads to overconfidence more than forecasting ability. Experience leads to overconfidence. Let's just listen and break this down. Experience. So when you experience something, you think you know what's about to happen. So that's confidence. You think, oh, I already know. I'm confident this is about to happen. That's what it's saying. Experience leads to overconfidence more than forecasting ability. It's saying investor Michael once explained this well. Confronted with the argument that few investors are prepared for rising interest rates because they never experienced them. The last big period of rising interest rates occurred almost 40 years ago. He argued that it didn't matter because experiencing or even studying what happened in the past might not serve as any guide to what will happen when rates rise in the future. I'm going to just dot that whole paragraph because that was imperative. Right? We think just because we experience something, I already know that's about to happen. I'm good. You overconfident now. Now you're not even going to be able to use your ability to discern what is actually finna happen because you think you know. You confident. You overconfident. I ain't saying confidence confidence is great. But when you overconfident and then you miss what's about to happen, then you think, oh, damn, my confidence didn't even work. That's what you thinking. Come on now. It say, so what? It say, will the current rate hike look like the last one or the one before that? Will different asset classes behave similarly, the same, or the exact opposite? Right? Will they? It say, on the one hand, people that have been investing through the events of 1987, 2000, and 08 have experienced a lot of different markets. On the other hand, isn't it possible that this experience can lead to overconfidence? Failing to admit you're wrong, anchoring to previous outcomes. I love reading, y'all. This is why I do it. Ask anybody that I encountered, the first thing I say, have you read? It'd be crazy when I say it because I'll be like, why? You don't even know him. Why you just say that? I promise you, I've done that a few times, but I promise you, one job I worked at, I promise you, you can ask the CEO, the CFO, the manager, the mod. Ask them. I had the whole motherfucking company reading. The whole company reading. I can't even count on my hands how many motherfuckers I had reading on that company. At that company. Promise you. That's how much I push reading to people because I've seen what it done to me. If you knew me in middle school, I swear to God, you would be like, bro, this nigga reading? What the fuck? This nigga read books? I promise you, if you knew me back then, if you knew me not dating, because nobody knew me in dating that I know now. But if you knew me from middle school to high school, boy, you would think I got cloned or something. I promise you. You would think something wrong with me. You think I'm on some spiritual shit or something. Nah, I ain't on none of that. I just seen what reading did to me. And I know what it's doing to me. And I know what it's about to do. That's all I know. That's all I know. But I'm telling y'all, I push reading like I'm pushing the album release date. That's how bad I push reading. I can call my manager, the CFO, the CEO, and be like, so how was Tay-Woo experience back at your company? They gonna say, oh, he brought a lot of books and he inspired a lot of people to read. My manager used to call me his financial advisor. Bro, what? You would think in middle school and high school that they'd be like, oh, he late to work every day. Oh, he do this and this and this and this and this and this. But this motherfucker said, I'm his financial advisor. Because a lot of books that I read is based on finance and personal development. That's the only books I read. That's not the only books I read, but the books right here is on tax-free, Secrets of a Millionaire, The Go-Giver, Economics 101, Financial Freedom, Smart Investing. I have something to say speaking about personal development. It's a lot of personal development books right here. But yeah, that's what it is. That's what I read on. And I'm fascinated with this shit. Like it's like lots of money in my hand right now. I can't even count. It's falling out my hand right now as we speak. That's how bad it is. No, not bad. That's how good it is. I push reading like it's an album release date for me. I promise you. Cause I've seen what reading do to me. And I be one, the people I grew up with, like I be seeing them do what they do. Like as far as like, I don't know what they do. I ain't gonna lie. Like, but you know, some people I grew up with, you know, they into having ops and shit and all this other shit. But I be just thinking like, bro, I wish y'all came where I'm going. But like, everybody can't go with you. Cause the thing is, y'all wasn't even like that in school. Y'all just around motherfuckers that actually do it. And now y'all doing it. And all they gonna do is when y'all, you feel me, pray to God that y'all don't, but all they gonna do is when shit go wrong or shit go left, all they gonna do is cry and just try to slide back. But it's like, bruh, if you ain't even have to go that way for them to do that. You feel me? Cause we took care of my family took care of a lot of people back home. For real. We took care of a lot of people. And it's just crazy to me because like I'm very caring and like I care about people a lot. And it's just crazy how like where people going. Like, but I accepted that if I keep worrying about them, then I'm not gonna be able to move forward. So I had to accept it like, hey, they know some of them know what I'm doing right now. Some of them don't, but like, hey, hey, I did what I could in the past and I benefited you, but it looked like you wanted to continue to go the route you did, but that's fine. But we getting back to the book. We ain't talking about no stories. But yeah, call the CFO, ask him, was he reading a lot? Did he bring his book every day? Did he bring look, this book right here, this is the biggest book I've read in 2022. It's called Money Master the Game. This last year was the biggest book I read in my life ever. I swear to God. And I used to bring this book. It was no days off where I didn't bring it. It took me a month and a half to finish this book because it was 600 pages. That was the biggest book I ever read. But it took me a month and a half to finish that. But let's get back on it. So it say, on the other hand, people that have been investing through the events of 1987, 2000, and 2008 have experienced a lot of different markets, meaning the stock market. It say, on the other hand, isn't it possible that this experience can lead to overconfidence, failing to admit you're wrong, right? So they're basically saying like people that, you know, have different asset classes think that it's going to perform how I did in the past, right? So it said, two dangerous things happen when you rely too heavily on investment history. I said history. This is what happens, right? Damn, this shit in my face. Damn. All right, that's not in my face. But it said two dangerous things happen, right? When you rely too heavily on investment history as a guide to what's going to happen next, because we got to understand that history is surprising events. Just like economics is the study of scarcity, and history is the study of surprising events. So this is the two dangerous things that will happen. You'll likely miss the outer outliner events that move the needle the most. I'm gonna reread that again. You'll likely miss that outlier. I think I'm saying that right. That's it. You'll likely miss the outlier events, right, that move the needle the most. What does that mean? Basically, it's saying the most important events in historical data are the big outliers, meaning like 9/11, the Great Depression, the dot-com bubble, the World War II. That's the outliers. Outliner. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Outlier. It says lie. We're saying outlier. So it says, so we're gonna go back to it. Two dangerous things happens when you rely too heavily on investment history. These are two dangerous things. You'll likely miss the outlier events that move the needle. Right? So it says the most important events in historical data are the big outliers, right? The record-breaking events. They are what move the needle in the economy and the stock market. It say the Great Depression was one of them. World War II, the dot-com bubble, September 11th, the housing crash of the mid-2000s. A handful of outlier events play an enormous role because they influence so many unrelated events in their wake. 15 billion people were born in the 19th and 20th century. 15 billion. But try to imagine how different the global economy and the whole world would be today if just 7 of them never existed. Right? Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, Gavario Principe, Thomas Edison, Bill Gates, Martin Luther King. So it's saying 15 billion people were born in the 19th and 20th century. But try to imagine how different the global economy and the whole world would be today if just 7 of them would never exist. And the 7 I just named them. So what would be just imagine it would be different if we didn't have Martin Luther King, Bill Gates, Thomas Edison, and these are I don't even speak about that next time. But yeah, just imagine these 7 people. How would the world be? It's I'm not even sure that's the most meaningful list, but almost everything about the world today, from borders to technology to social norms, would be different if these 7 people hadn't left their mark. Another way to put this is that 0.4% of people were responsible for perhaps the majority of the world's direction over the last century. The same goes for projects, innovation, and events. Imagine the last century without the Great Depression, World War II, the Manhattan Project, vaccines, antibiotics, ARPANET, September 11th, the fall of the Soviet Union, right? It's how many projects and events occurred in the 20th century? How many? I don't know. Billions, trillions, who knows? But those 8 alone impact the world orders upon orders of magnitude more than others, right? The things that make tell events easily to unappreciate is how easy it is to underestimate how things compound, right? How, for example, 9/11 prompted the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, which helped people drive the housing bubble, which led to the financial crisis, which led to a poor jobs market, which led tens of millions to seek a college education, which led to 1.6 trillion in student loans, with a 10.8% default rate. It's not intuitive to link 19 hijackers to the current weight of student loans, but that's what happens in a world driven by a few outlier tail events, right? It say the majority of what's happening at any given moment in the global economy can be tied back to a handful of past events that were nearly impossible to predict. It says the most common plot of economic history is the role of surprises. Surprise! Surprise! You know when you getting off work and you walk into your house and it's a group of people, they say surprise, surprise. The most common plot of economic history is the role of surprises. It's about to get better, I promise you, because I'm about to break it down to the ground. Right? It say the reason surprises occur is not because our models are wrong or our intelligence is low. It's because the odds that Adolf Hitler's parents argued on the evening 9 months before he was born were the same as them convincing a child. Technology is hard to predict because Bill Gates may have died from polio if John got cranky and gave up on his quest to find a vaccine. It said the reason we couldn't predict student loan growth is because an airport security guard may have confiscated a hijacker's knife on 9/11. That's all there is to it, right? So we're just naming those list of things to say why surprises occur, not because of our models or our real intelligence, right? It's saying the problem is that we often use events like the Great Depression and World War II to guide our views of things like the worst case scenarios when thinking about future investment returns. Look, let me reread that again for me and you. It say the problem is that we often use events like the Great Depression and World War II to guide our views of things like worst case scenarios when thinking about future investment return. So it's saying like we use we use the events that happened in the past to guide our investment decisions. That's what it's saying. It say, but those record-setting events had no precedent when they occurred, right? So the forecaster who assumes the worst and the best events of the past will match the worst and the best events of the future is not following history. It says they're accidentally assuming that the history of unprecedented events doesn't apply to the future. Listen to what it just said, right? Unprecedented events are like things that happen, like I forgot the real definition, but like unprecedented events is basically is a surprise or a surprise event, if I'm saying that correct, right? Hold up, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. So we're talking about unprecedented events. So we're gonna go back to what it's saying. It say, but those record-setting events had no precedent when they occurred, right? It says, so the forecaster who assumes the worst events of the past will match the worst events of the future. And they say that that's not following history. It say it says they're accidentally assuming that the history of unprecedented events doesn't apply to the future. So they're basically saying the people that are assuming are saying, oh, these unprecedented events doesn't apply to the future. That's what they're saying. Like they're saying like, okay, something in the future won't be a surprise that will shock the world and make history. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's what they're assuming. It say this is not a failure of analysis. It's a failure of imagination. Realizing the future might not look anything like the past is a special kind of skill that is not generally looked highly upon by the financial forecasting community. I'm going to reread that for me and you. So they're saying, right, just because they're accidentally assuming, they say this is not a failure of analysis, it's a failure of imagination. Why is it a failure of imagination? Because they're not thinking that these surprises can occur in the future, right? They're not using their imagination. So unprecedented events can happen in the future, and they will happen in the future. We don't know what it's going to be because it's a surprise. When something is a surprise, you don't know what's going to happen, right? It says realizing the future might not look anything like the past is a special kind of skill that is not generally looked highly upon by the financial forecasting community. So they're saying people that realize the future might not look. Wait, hold up. Let me reread it one more time for me and you. It say realizing the future might not look anything like the past is a special kind of skill. How's that a special kind of skill? Because they're using their imagination, saying that, okay, these surprising events can occur. It's at a 2017 dinner I attended in New York, Daniel was asked how investors should respond when our forecasts are wrong. He said, this is what Daniel said. Wait, Daniel were asked how investors, this is what Daniel said. He said, whenever we are surprised by something, and listen, this part right here, this goes for the, not even in an investing world, this goes for the day-to-day world, because we get surprises, right? We get life surprises. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All we know is we might get tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to get tomorrow. All we know is we might get it. And if we do get tomorrow, we know that we're going to be surprised by something. Even if we unaware of it, we're going to get surprised. Listen to what it says. It say, whenever we are surprised by something, even if we admit that, just listen, even if we admit we made a mistake, we say, oh, I'll never make that mistake again. Listen, it say, but in fact, what you should learn when you make a mistake, because you did not anticipate something, is that the world is difficult to anticipate. That's the correct lesson to learn from surprises, that the world is surprising. I'm going to reread that again, because I messed up a little bit. This is what Michael said. I'm gonna just reread it. It say, at a 2017 dinner I attended in New York, Daniel was asked how investors should respond when our forecasts are wrong. He said, this is what Daniel said. He said, whenever we are surprised by something, even if we admit that we made a mistake, we say, this is what we say, oh, I'll never make that mistake again. That's what we will say. It say, but in fact, what you should learn when you make a mistake, because you did not anticipate something, is that the world is difficult to anticipate. Right? That's the correct lesson to learn from surprises. So the correct lesson to learn from surprises is that the world is surprising. So we can't always anticipate, oh, this is about to happen. Because we can be surprised and be like, oh shit, damn, I didn't even know this is about to happen. You feel me? Like, so it's saying like what you should learn when you make a mistake because you did not anticipate something is that the world is different. It's difficult to anticipate. Okay, I'm understand. I read that right this time because I was like, wait, where's the comma or the period or like it didn't make sense. This is one whole slide, right? It says what you should learn when you make a mistake because you did not anticipate something, right? Is that the world is difficult to anticipate. That's the correct lesson to learn from surprises is that the world is surprising. So that's like, for instance, say you're a day trader and you anticipate all this the market about to break this pattern and go bullish. You anticipate it about to happen, but your ass is gonna get surprised and be like, oh shit, like damn, it just my pattern just broke and it went bearish. Oh damn. You feel me? And it's saying the world is difficult to anticipate. So some of y'all might be like, okay, if the world is difficult to anticipate, how can I adapt to a difficult world that I can and I can try to anticipate, but I can't fully hit the dot on it? Like, what can I do to maneuver in this world, even though it's difficult to anticipate because we never know what the hell is going to happen because the world is full of surprises? What can I do? That would be my question for me. You feel me? That's my thinking. Like, what can I do to adapt to a world that is difficult to anticipate? What can I do? That would be my question. This is what it say. And he's giving you an answer. It say the correct lesson to learn from surprises is that the world is surprising. So if you grasp that in your head, that the world is surprising. Oh, that's somebody. So it said the correct lesson to learn from surprises is that the world is surprising. That's the correct lesson. That's the only lesson. It say not that we should use past surprises as a guide to future boundaries. That we should use past surprises as an admission that we have no idea what the hell might happen next. Listen to that. Listen to that. Should I reread the whole damn page? Because I think I should. I think I should. Hallelujah. So, I just answered your question. If y'all want to know how to anticipate a difficult world, you have to know that the world is surprising and you can't anticipate it because you don't know what can happen. So, when we wake up tomorrow and we think, oh, this is finna happen, it's not going to happen because the world is full of surprises and it is surprising. So we shouldn't walk in tomorrow knowing that this is about to happen. The only thing you should walk into the world knowing is that you got to go to school tomorrow. You can anticipate that. But other than that, you don't know what's about to happen. You feel me? So I would say for y'all and for me, is to walk in tomorrow knowing that you are about to be surprised. Because when you know that it's something, once you have that knowing that the world is full of surprises, now when it happens, you won't be in such shock that it happened because you know that the world is full of surprises. And then you can adapt. And for you to adapt to that, you have to learn yourself. I can't give you an answer to that. All I can tell you is to learn yourself. It's called adaptability. You have to adapt to what is happening, right? I'm going to reread this again. It say the correct lesson to learn from surprises is that the world is surprising. Not that we should use past surprises as a guide to future boundaries. So it's saying that we shouldn't use past surprises as future boundaries. We shouldn't do that because now that we're limited, it's that we should use past surprises as an admission that we have no idea what might happen next. Admission. You know, when you have a ticket, you have to have an admission ticket. I think I'm saying that right. It the most important economic events of the future, things that will move the needle the most, are things that history gives us little to no guide about. Right? because remember, the outlier moves the needle, right? But it says the most important economic events of the future, things that will move the needle the most, are things that history gives us little to no guide about. History don't give us no guide to the things that's about to move the needle coming forward, these surprises. History don't give us that. It don't tell us what's about to happen. It just tell us what did happen. That's all history did. It say they will be unprecedented events. Their unprecedented natures means we won't be prepared for them, right? And I can tell y'all that the best thing y'all can do is just adapt, because you can't prepare for a surprise. You feel me? You can't be prepared for a surprise. You can't. All you can do is just prepare yourself, right? Meaning like control yourself. That's all you can do when it happens. That's all you can do. So it says they will be unprecedented events. Their unprecedented nature means we won't be prepared for them, which is part of what makes them so impactful. So like when a war happened, what makes a war so impactful is that we didn't know the war was coming. That's what makes it so impactful. And say this is true for both scary events like recessions and wars, and great events like innovation. And say I'm confident in that predictions. And say I'm confident in that prediction because surprises moving the needle the most is the one forecast that's been accurate at virtually every point in history. So we at number two now, right? Because remember going back. Remember going back, we read it's a two dangerous things that happens when you rely too heavily on investment history. So we already spoke about one, the outlier events that move the needle the most, which is like the impactful ones. And now we on number two, right? It's a history can be a misleading guide to the future of the economy and stock market because it doesn't account for structural changes that are relevant to today's world. Listen to what this say. It say history can be a misleading guide to the future of the economy and stock market because it doesn't account for structural changes that are relevant to today's world. So that's like the 401ks, right? That's just like the 401ks. They don't fit for today's world. It says it right here. History can be a misleading guide to the future of the economy and stock market because it doesn't account for structural changes. So it's saying history don't account for structural changes, continuing changing that are relevant in today's world, right? So them 401ks, it doesn't account for the structural changes that is relevant in today's world. Say right here, consider a few big ones. The 401k is 42 years old. The Roth IRA is younger, created in the 1990s. So personal financial advice and analysis about how Americans save for retirement today is not directly comparable to what makes sense just a generation ago, right? It say we have new options. Things change. Let's say, or take venture capital. It barely existed 25 years ago. There are single venture capital funds today that are larger than the entire industry was a generation ago. It say in his memoir, Nike founder Phil Knight wrote about his early days in business, right? It says, what this means in effect is that all historical data going back just a few decades about how startups are financed is out of date. It say what we know about investment cycles and startups failure rates is not a deep base of history to learn from because the way companies are funded today is such a new historical paradigm. Or take public markets, the S&P 500 did not include financial stocks until 1976. Today, financials make up 16% of the index. Technology stocks were virtually non existent 50 years ago. Today, They're more than a fifth of the index the technology stocks are. Accounting rules have changed over time. So have disclosures, auditing, and the amount of market liquidity. Things change, right? Things change. It changed, and people don't like change. Change is hard to grasp. Change is hard to adapt to because it happened so fast and it surprised us. That's why I said, like he said, you can't be prepared for them, but I'm saying you could prepare yourself, meaning learn yourself, understand yourself, so when a surprise happens, you're not shocked. You're not like, oh shit, like what do I do? You're not like this when a surprise happens because you understand yourself and you understand your emotion and you understand your mind and you understand how you react. You need to learn yourself. And that's an everyday process for me to learn myself. So when a surprise do happen, I'm not, I'm not shaky or scared or frightened or fearful because it surprised me. No, I'm prepared. Like myself is prepared. You feel me? If I gotta take a detour, I'm prepared, right? It say the time between U.S. recessions has changed dramatically over the last 150 years. We're almost done, y'all. We've been on here for an hour. It say the average time between recessions has grown from about 2 years in the late 1800s to 5 years in the early 20th century to 8 years over the last half century. It say as I write this book, no, it says as I write this, it looks like we're going into a recession. 12 years since the last recession began in December 2007. That's the longest gap between recessions since before the Civil War. It say there are plenty of theories on why recessions have become less frequent. One is that the Fed is better at managing the business cycle or at least extending it. I would say extending it. He's not good at managing it for sure. Hell no. It say another is that heavy industry is more prone to boom and bust overproduction than the service industries that dominated the last 50 years. It say the pessimistic view is that we now have fewer recessions, but when they occur, they are more powerful than before. It say for our argument, it doesn't particularly matter what caused the change. What matters is that things clearly change, right? We so focused on this. We so focused on what caused this. Like, why does this happen? But we not focused on um that it changed, and now we gotta adapt to the change. You feel me? It say to show how these historical changes should affect investing decisions, consider the work of a man many believe to be one of the greatest investor minds of all time. He This is just about to go into how Benjamin Graham, the one of the best intelligent investors of his time, came out with a book, and he's basically about to explain on how some of his principles don't add up into today's time, right? So that's what that's about to talk about. Um, so it's a an interesting quirk of investing history is that the further back you look, the more likely you are to be examining a world that no longer applies to today. I'm gonna reread that again. It's an interesting quirk of investing history is that the further back you look, the more likely you are to be examining a world that no longer applies to today. So the further back you look on investing, that no longer applies to today. It's many investors and economists take comfort in knowing their forecasts are backed up by decades, even centuries of data. We all know that. We all know that investors and economists take comfort in knowing, oh, just because it happened in the past, we can prepare for it in the future. No, because surprises are inevitable. They happen, right? It's there's a common phrase in investing, usually used mockingly, that it's different this time. If you need to rebut someone who's predicting the future won't perfectly mirror the past. Say, oh, so you think it's different this time, and drop the mic. It comes from investor John Templeton's view that the four most dangerous words in investing are "it's different this time." It's a Templeton, though, admitted that it is different at least 20% of the time. The world changes, of course it does, and those changes are what matters most over time. So, listen to what he just said. He said, and those changes are what matter most over time. It matters most the change that happened, not what caused the change. Michael put it, the 12 most dangerous words in investing are. The four most dangerous words in investing are is different this time. It said that doesn't mean we should ignore history when thinking about money. So we shouldn't ignore history when thinking about money, right? Because it does play a role. We're not trying to neglect the history at all. We're saying that some of it isn't important to us in today's world because change happens. It say, but there's an important nuance. The further back in history you look, the more general your takeaway should be. General things like people's relationship to greed and fear, how they behave under stress, and how they respond to incentives tend to be stable in time. The history of money is useful for that kind of stuff. Oh, I like that. I like how he said that. It say, but specific trends, specific trades, specific sectors, specific casual relationships about markets, and what people should do with their money are always an example of evolution and progress. It said the question then is, how should we think about and plan for the future? Let's take a look in the next chapter. All right, y'all. I hope y'all took away something from that. I'm about to go eat because I ain't eat all day. I've been eating, shitty potato. But I appreciate y'all from tapping in. I'm gonna leave y'all as I came as one, and stay tuned for the next live because y'all know I'm gonna be dropping gems and I'm gonna be educating y'all because that's what I love to do most, and to educate me and you because I know that surprises are gonna happen, right? And you know that too. And you can't really prepare for it. The only thing you can really prepare is yourself to um, build yourself up to a point where when a surprise do happen, you're not financially shocked, emotionally shocked, physically shocked. You're not shocked because you prepared yourself, you educated yourself, and you studied yourself. But we know now that surprises do happen, and you know we don't know what tomorrow may bring. Like we don't know what tomorrow may bring. So that should be some type of weightless shoulder off of us because now we know that tomorrow brings a whole new day. So that means we don't need to bring today's experiences into tomorrow's day because tomorrow might bring a whole new surprise that causes us to be a whole nother person. You feel me? Make sure y'all continue to tap into these lives, man. I'm gonna keep educating y'all. I'm gonna keep expanding y'all knowledge because knowledge enhances wisdom, and we know that. And I'm about to eat the hell out these. Peace.